So to make this bag, you'll need 3 different colours of cotton yarn. This is Aran weight, which I recommend for the pattern to get the right size, but you can probably use any weight yarn. It will obviously just impact the size of your bag and your zip. So this is a 22 centimetre zip that I bought from Amazon, a pack of 5, quite cheap on there, so it should be easy to get. A darning needle, so that's the one with the bigger eye for weaving in your ends, a sewing needle for sewing on your zip, a 5mm crochet hook, just some sewing thread, scissors just to sew in your ends and cut your ends, and the bag strap. So I bought this on Amazon as well. This is optional too. If you prefer to just crochet a strap, it's absolutely fine. You'll just need to find a way to get your bag on and off. So the bag is made up of 10 of these granny squares, which we'll go through how to make in a second. It measures just over 10, about 10.5 inches across, and about 7 inches long. As I said, if you choose a different weight of yarn, that will obviously affect the pattern. The zip is sewn to the top, and then the straps are attached to the sides of the bag. Okay, so to begin, you need to make a magic circle. So to do this, you want to wrap your yarn around your 2 fingers like this, and take it and wrap it all the way around into a cross. Okay, so you're going to insert your hook under this part of the cross here on the right hand side, and then hook over the left hand side, pull it round, and then insert your hook under there and pull through. Okay, so then you have your magic ring. So from here we're going to chain 2 and then work 11 double crochets into the magic ring. So the chain 2 counts as your first one, and then you make 11 more to make a total of 12. So I'll meet you back when we have 12. Okay, so we now have 11 double crochets and I'll chain 2 to start. You're just going to slip stitch into your top of your chain 2, pull through, and then that is your center. Okay, so I've joined my second colour yarn to my first double crochet. Now we're going to make the petals. So to do that, we want to yarn over, insert your hook here, yarn over again, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, so 3 loops on your hook, yarn over again, into the same stitch, yarn over again, pull through 2, so 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So now you've got 5 loops on your hook, and to finish it off you're going to yarn over, pull through all 5 loops. You've got a petal, and then chain 1, and then do that again in the next stitch. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 4 and 5 and pull through. Okay, so you do that in each stitch around until you've got 12 of these petals. Okay, so we've now got 12 petals around. I've chained 1. I'm just going to slip stitch into that first cluster stitch there, and then fasten off. Okay, so now I'm going to join my outer colour yarn. So just join in between any 2 petal space. I'm going to chain 4. And that counts as your first treble. So then I'm going to yarn over twice, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 2 trebles, so that counts as our first half of our first corner, and we'll finish that off at the end. So next we're going to make 3 double crochets in the next 2 chain spaces. So 1, 2, 3, and again 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so now we're going to make another treble, so yarn over twice, and another treble, and we're going to chain 2. We're going to make 2 more trebles in the same space, so that makes your next corner. And so we're going to repeat that around, so you want 3 double crochets in the next 2 spaces, and then your 2 trebles, chain 2 trebles in your next, and repeat around here, so you'll finish off with 2 sets of 3 double crochets in your last 2 spaces, and then we'll finish off the last corner. Okay, so we've now come round to the end, so we've got our first half of our first corner, 2 sets of 3 double crochets, 2 treble chain 2 treble for our second corner, 2 sets of 3 doubles, next corner, 2 sets of 3 doubles, next corner, 2 sets of 3 doubles, and so to finish off this corner we're going to treble in that same space that we started, treble again, and we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to slip stitch into the top of that first chain 4, and that finishes off your first corner. Okay, so that's your square finished. You're going to want to make 10 of these and then block them if you can. Okay, so we've now got our 10 squares made up, and I've blocked these on my blocking board. So if you've got a blocking board, just spray them with a bit of water and pin them out, or you can just use a yoga mat or anything sort of squishy, just helps to give them a bit of shape. So to give you an idea of the layout, I've just laid out what one side will look like. So we'll have 3 across the top, and this one in the middle, and then this one on the edge here will fold over, and this corner will be on the front and the other corner will be on the back. So to start with, we want to sew along the front edge here all the way across, and then I'll meet you back to show you the other side. Okay, so you just sew underneath each stitch across the squares like this. Okay, and in that chain space, and in this chain space, okay, and then onwards to the next one. So here I like to go under all 4, just to really anchor that in, like this. So I will meet you back when we've sewn, meet you back when we've sewn all of these together. Okay, so we've now sewn along here. You see this is still loose in between, but don't worry, we'll come back to that later. So we want to flip these over and then do exactly the same across here. So lay out your squares. And then fold in this corner. And you will begin sewing like this. So this one folded in half. Okay, so carry on sewing along the top edge here, fold in this one and sew along the top edge there, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so we've sewn along here, we've got this sort of almost I guess like a V shape. So then you just want to sew up to the top here to finish that off, and then we're going to sew down the sides here, but I'll show you that in a second. So just finish off by sewing up this line here, and then you can tie that off in a knot. Okay, so now I'm going to sew down here, so just these two together, then down here, down this line, then across the bottom, down there, and then up the side again. So you start up in the corner here, you go sew down here, sew across here, and then sew up here. Okay, so we've reached the bottom of the bag now, so just to show you, you want to sort of come through here and across like this to bring this together. Okay, so we've sewn across the bottom, and then we're just going to carry on up this side, in the same way. Okay, so I'll meet you back up here. Okay, so you can see it's starting to come together now. We've still got a few sides to sew up, so you need to do the same on this side, just sew across there, and then flip it over, and we want to sew around down there and down there. Now we've already done the bottom, so you won't need to do the bottom, so that would just be two individual sewing lines there. Got quite a few ends, loose ends here, but don't worry about that, we can tidy them all up at the end. Okay, so your bag should now be fully assembled on both sides. I've sewed in all my ends at this stage just so it's nice and neat. You can choose to do that right at the end if you want. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a single crochet border around the top. So you're going to make a single crochet in the chain 2 space here, and then a single crochet in each of your stitches along the edge, and then again into the chain 2 space, into the chain 2 space there, and then across here. So So single crochet in my chain 2 space, single crochet in there, so in the chain 2 space, in the next chain 2 space, and then continue round. So I will meet you back here. Okay, so I've single crocheted all the way around the edge. So now I'm back here, I'm going to slip stitch into my first single crochet here, slip stitch and chain 1, and then I'm going to turn. I'm going to work one more round of single crochet around the edge just to really neaten that up. Okay, so we've now got our 2 rounds of single crochet around the edge. So slip stitch into the first stitch. Now we're going to make the loop just across here that your strap will go around. So chain 10. Okay, so you got 10, and then you're just going to single crochet in each chain along. So that'll be a total of 9 single crochets. Into the last one. So then to anchor this down, just going to slip stitch into that next stitch, chain 1, and then turn, and just work back along for one more. Okay. Into that end one. So then we're going to cut our yarn now, but leave a long tail, because you're going to use this tail to sew your strap down to the other side of the bag. So you see it forms a loop here. We thread our needle, and so you're sort of aiming for about there, so not too important, just as long as you'd be able to get a strap through. So just sew this on. You might want to go back and forth a few times just to make it sure it's really secure. Okay, so you've got a nice little loop there now for your strap. So join your yarn to this stitch here in the middle, and then just repeat that on the other side. Okay, so now you see you've got your 2 loops on the end. It's time to add the zip. I mean, I will start off by saying that the zip is optional. if you're happy to just have your bag open, it's absolutely fine, or you might want to add a button or another sort of clasp. But I think a zip is really good. It's a bit tricky, but just be patient, and it will sort of work out in the end, I hope. So a little tip, each sort of zip has this tail opening. So you want to aim to have your tail opening sort of split either side of your loop for your strap. So first of all, you're going to anchor that down. So you're going to sew that down right on the end here. So you're going to sew these two sides to the inside. Okay. Okay, so when that's fastened on the side there, what you want to do is to fold around the zip. So you've got the zip part under there. You fold around, and what you're aiming to do is to sew as closely to the edge of that zip part as you can. So the zip will sort of tuck in into the bag. So if you sew along here, so sort of just under the zip, you should be able to feel it with your fingers. You might find it easy to pin it out as you go. That way it will sort of stay in place. So just go nice and slow. I think the key here is just to really take your time with it, not rush. I mean, sewing is not my speciality, so I'm by no means an expert, and if you have a better way of doing this, absolutely go for it. This is just a way that I've found that works. I think it's fairly easy if you just take your time and be patient with it. So I'm going to carry on, and I will meet you back at the end of this first side. Okay, so I've sewn along the side here, and I've got to the end, and I'm just going to anchor this side down here like I did on the first end. It's a bit fiddly now. Sew this down here. And you can probably see my stitching isn't the neatest, but as I said, I'm not really a great sewer, and it shouldn't matter too much because it will be on the inside of the zip, so you shouldn't really be able to see it. Okay, so now you want to open up your zip so that you can easily sew this side down here. So you want to just do the same thing as you did on the first side, staying as close to the zip as you can. Just sew along the edge. Okay, and again, take your time with this, and I'll meet you back at the end there. Okay, so now back at the start, it gets really fiddly here, but you just want to sew this bit down in the corner like you did at the start. So just keeping it as close to the zip as you can. Careful not to stab yourself like I keep doing. And just down the side here. Okay, so it's a bit messy, but we now have a fully functional zip. Okay, so you're going to feed your strap through your loophole, this loose end here. You're going to weave it under, pull it through a bit, and then back through here. There we go. So now you can use this to adjust the tightness of your bag.